Simone Washington's hands trembled as she smoothed down her emerald green dress in the restaurant's bathroom mirror. She had practiced her fake name 100 times. Sophie Bennett. Sophie Bennett. Sophie. Not Simone. Not the woman who had cried herself to sleep for months after her divorce. Not the woman whose marriage collapsed under the weight of broken promises and empty dinner tables. Tonight, she was Sophie, a marketing consultant who loved hiking and trying new restaurants. Sophie didn't have a past that hurt to remember. She checked her phone one more time. The dating app message from her friend Vanessa was still there, glowing with promises. Trust me, girl. This guy is perfect for you. Successful, kind, ready for something real. Just meet him. What's the worst that could happen? Simone almost laughed at that question now, standing in this expensive restaurant with its crystal chandeliers and white tablecloths. The worst had already happened 3 years ago when she signed divorce papers with shaking hands and walked away from the only man she'd ever truly loved. This blind date was supposed to be a fresh start, a way to finally move forward. But as she walked toward the reserved table, her heels clicking against the marble floor, her heart stopped. Because there, standing next to the hostess, looking just as shocked as she felt, was Nathan Pierce. Her ex-husband. The man she'd spent 3 years trying to forget. The billionaire who had chosen his empire over their marriage. And from the look on his face, he had no idea this blind date was with her either. The restaurant seemed to tilt. The soft classical music became too loud. Every eye in the room felt like it was watching them. Nathan's mouth opened, then closed. His hand, which had been reaching to pull out a chair, froze in midair. He wore a navy blue suit that she remembered buying with him years ago. His dark hair had a few more gray strands at the temples. His brown eyes, which had once looked at her with such love, now reflected the same confusion and panic she felt racing through her veins. Simone. His voice was barely a whisper. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. 3 years of carefully building walls around her heart, and they crumbled in an instant. This was supposed to be Nick. The nice accountant her friend had raved about. Not Nathan. Never Nathan. The hostess looked between them, clearly sensing the tension but maintaining her professional smile. Is everything all right? This is your table for two. Have you ever come face to face with the one person you never expected to see again? The one who broke your heart but still owns a piece of it? If this story already has you feeling something deep in your chest, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me if you think Simone should stay or run. Your support means everything, and I promise this story will take you on a journey you won't forget. 6 hours earlier, Simone had been sitting in her small but cozy apartment, staring at her closet like it held the answers to life's biggest questions. Her best friend Vanessa sat on the bed, legs crossed, scrolling through her phone with the determination of a woman on a mission. You need to wear something that says, "I'm confident but approachable," Vanessa announced, not looking up from her screen. Something that shows you've moved on and you're living your best life. Simone pulled out a red dress, then put it back. Too bold. Then a blue one. Too casual. Maybe this is a bad idea. I haven't been on a date in 3 years. What if I've forgotten how to talk to men? You talk to men every day at work, Vanessa pointed out, finally setting her phone down. She walked to the closet and pulled out the emerald green dress. This one. It brings out your eyes and it's the right amount of everything. Simone took the dress, running her fingers over the soft fabric. Tell me again why I agreed to this blind date? Vanessa sat beside her, taking her hand. Because you deserve to be happy, Simone. Because you've spent 3 years focusing on everyone else, helping families through their problems, counseling people through their toughest moments. You give so much love to the world. It's time you let someone give some back to you. But a blind date? With someone I've never even seen a picture of? That's the beauty of it. No judgments. No stalking his social media. Just two people meeting and seeing if there's a connection. And trust me, this guy is worth meeting. My friend Rachel works with him and she says he's genuine. Kind. The real deal. Simone wanted to believe her. She really did. After Nathan, she had built a life she was proud of. She had her counseling practice, her small circle of close friends, her peaceful apartment filled with plants and books. She had learned to be happy alone. But sometimes, late at night, she still felt the empty space beside her in bed. Still reached for a phone to call someone who was no longer hers to call. Okay, she said finally. I'll go. But if it's terrible, you owe me a spa day. Deal. And if it's amazing, you owe me a bridesmaid dress. They both laughed, but Simone felt a nervous flutter in her stomach. She didn't believe in fairy tales anymore. Marriage had taught her that love wasn't always enough. But maybe, just maybe, she could find something simple and steady. Something that wouldn't require her to shrink herself or wait by the phone for someone to remember she existed. Across the city, in a penthouse office overlooking the skyline, Nathan Pierce was having a similar conversation with his best friend and business partner, Cameron Mitchell. I don't need a blind date, Cam. I need to finish these contracts and prepare for the board meeting next week. Nathan didn't look up from his laptop, his fingers flying across the keyboard. Cameron leaned against the desk, arms crossed. You need a life outside of this office. When's the last time you went on a date? And I mean a real date, not a business dinner that happens to include a woman. Nathan finally looked up, running a hand through his hair. I date. Name one woman you've seen more than twice in the past year. Silence. Cameron nodded. Exactly. Look, man, I know the divorce was hard. I know you threw yourself into work to cope. But it's been 3 years, Nathan. 3 years of watching you build this empire while forgetting to build a life. Rachel knows someone perfect for you. Just meet her. One dinner. If it doesn't work out, I'll never bug you again about your non-existent love life. Nathan closed his laptop, leaning back in his chair. The truth was he was tired. Tired of coming home to an empty penthouse. Tired of success that felt hollow because he had no one to share it with. Tired of lying awake at night, wondering what Simone was doing, if she was happy, if she ever thought about him the way he still thought about her. Fine, he said. One dinner. But I'm using a fake name. I don't need someone dating me for my money. Cameron grinned. Fair enough. Nick the accountant it is. I'm not an accountant. They don't know that. Just be yourself. The real you, not the billionaire CEO you. The guy who used to make terrible jokes and stay up all night talking about dreams and possibilities. That guy deserves to be happy too. Nathan agreed to meet at Luigi's, an upscale Italian restaurant downtown. He chose a navy blue suit, something professional but not too flashy. He told himself this was just dinner. Just 2 hours of his life. Nothing more. But as he drove to the restaurant, his mind kept drifting to Simone. He wondered if she had moved on. If some other man was making her laugh the way he used to. If she had found the happiness he had failed to give her. The thought made his chest ache in a way no amount of business success could ever heal. He parked his car and walked into the restaurant, giving the hostess the name Nick. She smiled and said his date hadn't arrived yet, gesturing to a table by the window. He sat down, ordered water, and tried to calm his racing heart. This was ridiculous. He was a billionaire who had closed deals worth millions. He could handle a simple dinner date. But when Simone walked through that door 15 minutes later, when their eyes met across the restaurant, Nathan realized that some things you never stop loving. Some people you never truly get over. And fate, it seemed, had just given him a second chance he never thought he'd get. For a moment, neither of them moved. They stood there like two statues, frozen in time and disbelief. The hostess shifted uncomfortably, looking between them with growing concern. Should I give you two a moment? She asked carefully. Nathan found his voice first. Yes, thank you. We're fine. We know each other. The hostess nodded and walked away, leaving them alone in their bubble of shock. Around them, other diners continued their meals, oblivious to the small earthquake happening at table 17. Simone's mind raced through 1,000 thoughts at once. She could turn around and leave. Pretend this never happened. Go home and change her number and never speak to Vanessa again for setting this up. But something kept her feet planted to the ground. Maybe it was the look in Nathan's eyes. Maybe it was the fact that she had spent 3 years wondering what she would say if she ever saw him again. Or maybe it was simply that she was tired of running from the past. This is... She started, then stopped. What was this? Fate? A cruel joke? The universe's way of making sure she never forgot her biggest heartbreak? Unexpected, Nathan finished. He gestured to the chair across from him. Would you like to sit? Or would you rather leave? Simone knew what the old her would do. The woman who had filed for divorce would have walked out without looking back. But she had promised herself to be open to new experiences. To accept opportunities when they came. And maybe, in some strange way, this was an opportunity. To finally get closure. To say the things she never said. To understand what went wrong in a way they never could when they were in the middle of the storm. I'll stay, she said, surprising herself. She walked to the table and sat down, setting her small maroon purse on the empty chair beside her. But I think we need to acknowledge how strange this is. Nathan sat down across from her, his expression a mix of relief and nervousness. Strange doesn't even begin to cover it. So you're Sophie Bennett, the marketing consultant. A small smile tugged at Simone's lips despite the awkwardness. And you're Nick the accountant? Guilty. Nathan picked up his water glass, then set it back down without drinking. His hands needed something to do. Cameron set this up. He's been on my case about dating again. Vanessa did the same. She said I needed to get back out there. Simone studied him across the table. You look good. Maybe even better than she remembered. There was something different about him, something softer in the way he held himself. How long have you been doing the blind date thing? This is my first one. You. Same. Simone twisted the napkin in her lap. This is so weird, Nathan. I don't even know what to say. What are the odds? Pretty low, I imagine. Nathan leaned forward slightly. But maybe it's not a coincidence. Maybe this is supposed to happen. You believe in that kind of thing now? Fate and destiny? Simone tried to keep her tone light, but she couldn't hide the edge in her voice. You used to say we make our own destiny. That success comes from hard work and determination, not waiting for the universe to hand you things. Nathan flinched slightly at her words. He deserved that. He knew he did. People change, Simone. I've changed. Have you? The question came out sharper than she intended. 3 years of hurt and confusion were bubbling to the surface. I'm sorry. That wasn't fair. I wasn't expecting to see you tonight. I wasn't expecting to see you ever again, honestly. A waiter approached their table, sensing the tension but maintaining professional courtesy. Good evening. Can I start you both with something to drink? Perhaps some wine. Nathan looked at Simone. Would you like to stay? Have dinner? We don't have to if you're not comfortable. But we're already here. And maybe we could talk. Really talk for the first time in years. Simone hesitated. Every rational part of her brain screamed to leave. To protect herself from getting hurt again. But there was another part, a quieter part, that wanted to hear what he had to say. That wanted to understand if the man sitting across from her was different from the one who had let their marriage die. She turned to the waiter. I'll have a glass of red wine, please. Whatever you recommend. Nathan nodded to the waiter. Same for me. And we'll need a few more minutes to look at the menu. The waiter left and they were alone again. Simone picked up her menu, grateful for something to look at besides Nathan's face. But she could feel his eyes on her. You look beautiful, he said quietly. That green dress. It's perfect on you. Thank you. Simone kept her eyes on the menu, though she wasn't really reading it. You look good too. The gray in your hair suits you. Makes me look distinguished, right? That's what Cameron says. I say it makes me look old. You're 35, Nathan. That's not old. Feels old sometimes. He set down his menu. Especially when I look back at the choices I've made. The things I lost because I was too stubborn or too blind to see what mattered. Simone finally looked up at him, really looked at him. There was something in his eyes she had never seen before. Regret maybe. Or genuine sorrow. The Nathan she had divorced had been confident to the point of arrogance, always sure he was making the right choice. This Nathan seemed humbled by life in a way she hadn't expected. Why did you agree to this blind date? She asked. The real reason. Nathan thought for a moment before answering. Because I'm lonely, Simone. I've built everything I said I wanted to build. The company is worth more than I ever dreamed. I have houses and cars and investments. I could retire tomorrow and live comfortably for 10 lifetimes. But none of it means anything when you come home to an empty house every night. None of it fills the void. His honesty caught her off guard. The old Nathan would have deflected, would have made a joke or changed the subject. So you thought a blind date would fix that? I thought maybe I could find something real with someone new. Someone who didn't know about my past mistakes. Someone who could see me as I am now, not who I was. He paused. But maybe that was stupid. Maybe you can't outrun your past. Maybe the person you need to make things right with has been the problem all along. Or maybe I was the problem and you deserve better than what I gave you. The waiter returned with their wine, and they both took grateful sips, letting the moment settle. Around them, the restaurant hummed with normal life. Couples sharing meals, friends laughing over appetizers, business associates closing deals over dessert. Everyone moving forward with their lives while Simone and Nathan sat suspended in time, caught between who they used to be and who they might become. I don't know if this is a good idea, Simone said finally. Us sitting here talking like this. We hurt each other, Nathan. We said things that can't be unsaid. We made choices that can't be unmade. I know, but we're already here. And I don't want to waste this chance, however strange it is. Can we just have dinner? As two people who used to know each other really well? No pressure. No expectations. Just dinner. Simone wanted to say no. Wanted to protect herself. But there was something about the way he asked, the genuine hope in his voice, that made her reconsider. She had spent 3 years building walls. Maybe it was time to see if anything worth saving still existed on the other side. Okay, she said, picking up her menu again. Just dinner. But Nathan, I need you to understand something. I'm not the same woman who married you 7 years ago. I'm not the same woman who waited for you to come home every night. I've changed too. I'd like to hear about it, Nathan said, and he meant it. I'd like to know who Simone Washington is now. Not who she was. Who she is. They ordered their meals and slowly, carefully they began to talk. Not about the past yet. Not about the divorce or the pain. Just surface things. Safe things. Simone told him about her counseling practice, how she specialized in helping families through difficult transitions. Nathan told her about his foundation, a charity he'd started 2 years ago that provided resources for underprivileged children. You started a foundation? Simone couldn't hide her surprise. When did that happen? About 2 years ago. I was at a gala, one of those fancy charity events where rich people write checks and pat themselves on the back. And I realized I was doing the same thing. Writing checks but not actually making a difference. So I started visiting some of the programs my company donated to. I met kids who reminded me of myself when I was young. Smart, driven, but without resources or opportunities. It changed something in me. Simone listened, seeing a side of Nathan she had never known existed. During their marriage, he had been so focused on building his wealth that charity had been an afterthought, something you did for tax breaks and good PR. This Nathan spoke with real passion, with genuine care. That's wonderful, she said, and she meant it. What kind of programs do you fund? Educational programs mostly. Scholarships, tutoring, mentorship. We also partner with community centers to provide after-school programs. Nothing fancy, just giving kids a fighting chance. He paused, looking down at his wine glass. I wish I had done it sooner. Wish I had cared about something beyond my own success sooner. Maybe things would have been different. And just like that, they were back to the past. Back to the unspoken truth that sat between them like a third guest at their table. They had loved each other once. They had promised forever. And they had failed. Their food arrived, and for a few minutes they focused on eating, grateful for the break in conversation. But the silence was heavy with words unsaid. Finally, Simone set down her fork and looked at Nathan directly. We should talk about it, she said. The elephant in the room. Why we got divorced. What went wrong. If we're going to sit here and pretend to be civil, we might as well address the real issue. Nathan nodded slowly. He had known this conversation was coming. Had been dreading it and hoping for it in equal measure. You're right. Where do you want to start? Why don't you tell me your side? Simone leaned back in her chair, wrapping her hands around her wine glass. I've spent 3 years thinking I know what happened. But I only know my experience. I don't know yours. Nathan took a deep breath. This was it. The moment he had imagined countless times over the past 3 years. The chance to explain himself, to make her understand. But now that it was here, the words felt inadequate. I was scared, he began. That's the truth. I was terrified of failing. When I started the company, I put everything I had into it. Every dollar, every minute, every ounce of energy. Because I came from nothing, Simone. You know that. I grew up in a tiny apartment with a single mom who worked 3 jobs. I watched her sacrifice everything so I could go to college. I promised myself I would make something of my life. That I would never struggle the way she did. Simone remembered meeting Nathan's mother, a kind woman with tired eyes who had beamed with pride when Nathan told her about his business plans. She had passed away 2 years into their marriage from a sudden heart attack. It had devastated Nathan. I remember, Simone said softly. She was proud of you. She never got to see me succeed, Nathan continued, his voice rough with emotion. She died when the company was just starting to break even. Before the big deals. Before the success. I felt like I owed it to her to make it work. To prove that her sacrifices weren't in vain. So I worked. I worked 18-hour days. I missed dinners and weekends and holidays. I told myself it was temporary. That once the company was stable, I'd have time for everything else. For us. But it was never enough, Simone said, not unkindly. There was always another deal. Another merger. Another milestone. The company did become stable, Nathan. And you still weren't there. I know. Nathan met her eyes. And that's on me. Somewhere along the way, work stopped being about survival and started being about ego. About proving I was the best. About seeing how far I could go. I got addicted to the success, to the recognition. And I didn't see what it was costing me until you were gone. Simone felt tears prick her eyes but blinked them back. She had cried enough over this marriage. Do you know what it felt like? Sitting at home waiting for you? Celebrating our anniversary alone because you had a meeting that couldn't be rescheduled? Waking up in an empty bed more nights than not? No, Nathan admitted. I don't. I can imagine, but I don't really know. And that's part of the problem. I was so caught up in my world that I couldn't see yours. Couldn't see how lonely you were. How much you needed me. I tried to tell you, Simone said, her voice breaking slightly. So many times. I tried to explain how I felt. But you always had an excuse. Always had a reason why this meeting or that deal was more important. After a while, I stopped trying. I stopped believing that I mattered to you. You mattered, Nathan said urgently, leaning forward. You always mattered, Simone. I just didn't know how to show it. I thought providing for you, building a future for us, that was how I showed love. I thought the money and the security and the nice house were enough. But I didn't marry you for money, Simone said. I married you because you made me laugh. Because we stayed up all night talking about our dreams. Because you looked at me like I was the most important person in the world. And then, somewhere along the way, I stopped being a person to you. I became another obligation. Another thing on your to-do list. Nathan closed his eyes, the weight of her words hitting him like a physical blow. I'm so sorry, Simone. I'm sorry for making you feel that way. For taking you for granted. For losing sight of what really mattered. I've spent 3 years thinking about all the things I should have done differently. All the ways I failed you. I wasn't perfect either, Simone admitted after a moment. I could have been more direct about what I needed. I could have insisted we go to counseling instead of just asking once and accepting when you said you didn't have time. I let resentment build instead of fighting for us. I gave up too easily at the end. You gave up because you were exhausted, Nathan said gently. You gave up because you had been fighting alone for too long. That's not on you. That's on me for not being the partner you deserved. They sat in silence for a moment, the weight of their confessions settling between them. Around them, the restaurant continued its normal rhythm, but in their small corner, time felt suspended. This was the conversation they should have had 3 years ago. The honesty they should have given each other before it was too late. Can I ask you something? Nathan said finally. Did you ever think about me? After the divorce? Or did you move on? Simone considered lying, considered protecting herself. But what was the point? They were already here, already being vulnerable. I thought about you all the time, she admitted. For the first year, I couldn't go a day without wondering what you were doing. If you missed me. If you regretted how things ended. I drove past our old house once just to see it. I looked you up online, read articles about your company. I told myself I was over you, but I wasn't. I'm not sure I ever really was. Nathan's heart raced at her words. I never stopped thinking about you either. Never stopped missing you. I threw myself into work even harder after you left, trying to fill the hole you left behind. But nothing worked. Nothing filled it. I've gone on a few dates over the years, but they never went anywhere. Because they weren't you. Nathan. Simone started, not sure what she wanted to say. I'm not trying to pressure you or make you uncomfortable, Nathan said quickly. I just want you to know the truth. I want you to know that losing you was the biggest mistake of my life. And if I could go back and change things, I would in a heartbeat. But we can't go back, Simone said softly. We can only move forward. And I don't know if moving forward together is possible. We hurt each other too much. Maybe, Nathan agreed. But we're here now, sitting across from each other, talking honestly for the first time in years. That has to mean something, doesn't it? Simone picked up her wine glass, taking a long sip as she considered his words. Did it mean something? Or was it just a cosmic accident, a random twist of fate that meant nothing at all? She didn't know. But she did know that some part of her heart, the part she had tried so hard to lock away, was waking up again. And that scared her more than anything. Their waiter returned to clear their plates and offer dessert. They both declined, but Nathan ordered 2 coffees without asking Simone if she wanted one. He remembered how she liked her coffee. Black, no sugar. The small gesture made her chest ache with memory. I need you to understand something, Simone said when the waiter left. If we're going to even consider being friendly with each other, I need boundaries. I need to protect myself. I can't go through that kind of pain again. I understand, Nathan said. What do you need from me? Honesty. No games. No fake names or pretending to be someone you're not. She gave him a pointed look. Nick the accountant? Nathan had the grace to look embarrassed. Yeah, that was stupid. But I had my reasons. I didn't want someone dating me for my money. I wanted to know if they could like me for me. That's fair, Simone admitted. I used a fake name too for similar reasons. Didn't want to be found online or judged for my past. So we both came here trying to be someone we're not. Nathan smiled slightly. Maybe that's fitting. Maybe we never really knew each other at all. Or maybe we knew each other too well, Simone countered. Maybe that's why it hurt so much when it fell apart. Their coffee arrived and they both wrapped their hands around the warm cups. Outside the restaurant windows, the city lights twinkled against the darkening sky. It was a beautiful evening, the kind of evening that felt full of possibility. Can I ask you something else? Nathan said. What made you agree to this blind date? What did Vanessa say to convince you? Simone thought back to that conversation in her apartment. She said I deserve to be happy. That I give so much to others through my work, but I never let anyone give back to me. She said it was time to open my heart again. To take a chance on something new. And have you? Opened your heart again? I thought I had, Simone said honestly. I've built a good life for myself. I love my work. I have great friends. I'm content. But content isn't the same as happy, is it? Content is just existing. Getting through the days without pain. But it's not joy. It's not passion. It's not what I thought life would be. I know exactly what you mean, Nathan said. I have everything I thought I wanted. Success, money, respect. But it's empty. It's hollow. Because I have no one to share it with. No one to celebrate the wins with. No one to come home to. They looked at each other across the table, two people who had once promised forever and then watched it crumble. Two people who had spent years apart, building separate lives, only to end up in the same restaurant on the same night, confronting the truth that they had never really moved on. So what do we do now? Simone asked. Do we pretend this never happened? Go our separate ways again? We could, Nathan said. Or. He hesitated, then pushed forward. Or we could give this a chance. Not as husband and wife. Not as who we used to be. But as two people who might want to get to know each other again. No pressure. No expectations. Just see what happens. Simone's first instinct was to say no. To protect herself. To run before she could get hurt again. But then she remembered the promise she had made to herself. To be open. To accept opportunities with gratitude. To let kindness and hope lead. Okay, she said slowly. But on one condition. We take this slow. Really slow. One step at a time. And if either of us feels uncomfortable or wants to stop, we stop. No hard feelings. Nathan's face lit up with hope. Deal. So what's the first step? I think we just took it, Simone said, a small smile playing on her lips. We had dinner. We talked honestly. That's a start. Can there be a second step? Nathan asked. Maybe we could spend a day together? I could show you the foundation. You could see the work we do. And you could tell me more about your counseling practice. Just as friends. Getting to know each other. Simone considered it. Spending more time with Nathan felt dangerous. But it also felt right in a way she couldn't quite explain. All right. One day. But that doesn't mean anything beyond one day. We're still figuring things out. Understood. Nathan pulled out his phone. Can I get your number? Your real number, not Sophie Bennett's. Simone laughed, a real laugh that felt good after all the heavy conversation. Yes, you can have my real number. But Nathan, if you disappear or cancel on me, that's it. No second chances after a second chance. I won't disappear, Nathan promised. I won't cancel. I'll be there. Whatever you need, whenever you need it. That's a promise I intend to keep. They exchanged numbers and Nathan paid the bill despite Simone's offer to split it. They walked out of the restaurant together into the cool evening air. For a moment they stood on the sidewalk, neither quite ready to say goodbye. Thank you for staying, Nathan said. When you first walked in I was sure you'd leave. I wouldn't have blamed you if you had. I almost did, Simone admitted. But I'm glad I didn't. This was needed. This conversation. These answers. It helps. Same here. Nathan looked down at her, and for a moment, Simone saw the man she had fallen in love with all those years ago. Not the driven businessman, but the kind, thoughtful person underneath all the ambition. Can I call you tomorrow to set up our day together? You can call me tomorrow, Simone agreed. She turned to walk toward her car, then paused. Nathan? Thank you for being honest tonight. For not making excuses or trying to sugarcoat things. It means a lot. Thank you for listening, Nathan said. For giving me a chance to explain. I know I don't deserve it. Maybe we both deserve a chance to understand what happened, Simone said. Good night, Nathan. Good night, Simone. She walked to her car, feeling his eyes on her until she drove away. As she merged into traffic, her phone buzzed with a text from Vanessa. How did it go? Is he perfect or what? Simone stared at the message for a long moment before typing back. It's complicated. I'll tell you everything tomorrow. Because how could she explain to Vanessa that her perfect blind date had been her ex-husband? That the man who broke her heart had just asked for a second chance? That she had said yes despite every logical reason to say no? She drove home in a daze, her mind replaying every moment of the evening. The shock of seeing Nathan. The painful honesty of their conversation. The small spark of hope that maybe, just maybe, people really could change. That maybe love really did deserve a second chance. Simone barely slept that night. She kept replaying the evening in her mind, analyzing every word, every look, every moment. When her alarm went off at 7, she felt exhausted but wired, her mind racing with questions and doubts. She had agreed to spend a day with Nathan. What was she thinking? This was the man who had broken her heart. The man who had chosen work over their marriage time and time again. What made her think he had really changed? But another part of her, the part that had listened to him talk about his foundation with genuine passion, wanted to believe. Wanted to see if the man who had opened up to her last night was real or just another version of the person he thought she wanted him to be. Her phone rang as she was making coffee. Nathan's name appeared on the screen, and her heart did a little flip that annoyed her. She was not a teenager with a crush. She was a grown woman who needed to be smart about this. Hello. Good morning, Nathan's voice came through warm and slightly nervous. I hope I'm not calling too early. I know it's only 8 but I couldn't wait. I was worried you might have changed your mind overnight. I'm up, Simone said, pouring her coffee. And I haven't changed my mind. Although I'll admit I've been second-guessing myself all night. Me too, Nathan admitted. I kept thinking about what to show you, what to say. I want you to see that I'm different now. But I also don't want to try too hard and make you uncomfortable. Simone smiled despite herself. This vulnerable Nathan was so different from the confident, sometimes arrogant man she had married. Just be yourself. That's all I'm asking for. No performances. Deal. So I was thinking if you're free today we could go to the foundation. It's Saturday so most of the staff is off, but some of our programs run on weekends. There's a tutoring session this morning and a mentorship meetup this afternoon. You could see what we do, meet some of the kids. If you're interested. Simone hesitated. This felt like a big step. Seeing Nathan in his element, meeting people who mattered to him. It would make this real in a way that dinner at a restaurant didn't. But she had promised to give this a chance. And she was curious. Genuinely curious about this new side of Nathan. What time? She asked. Whenever works for you. The tutoring starts at 10 but we could meet earlier. I could show you around first. 9:30. Simone decided. Text me the address. Will do. And Simone? Thank you. Really. This means more to me than you know. After they hung up, Simone stood in her kitchen, coffee cup in hand, wondering what she was getting herself into. She called Vanessa, who answered on the second ring. Tell me everything, Vanessa demanded. Was he as perfect as Rachel said? Are you seeing him again? Do I need to start shopping for a bridesmaid dress? V, sit down. This is going to sound insane. Simone took a deep breath. My blind date last night was Nathan. Silence. Then, I'm sorry, what? Nathan? Your ex-husband Nathan? The one and only. How is that even possible? Rachel said she was setting you up with her colleague Nick. An accountant. She specifically said accountant. Nathan used a fake name. I used a fake name. We both showed up to the same restaurant for blind dates and... Simone paused. And it was each other. That's... Vanessa started, then laughed. That's actually kind of incredible. In a twisted, universe has a sense of humor kind of way. So what happened? Did you leave? Did you throw your drink at him? I stayed. We had dinner. We talked. You stayed? Simone, this is the man who destroyed you. The man you spent a year crying over. I know. But V, he was different. He apologized. Really apologized. He took responsibility for what went wrong. He didn't make excuses or try to blame me. He was honest. Vanessa sighed. And now you're seeing him again. Just as friends? He wants to show me his foundation. He does charity work now, helping underprivileged kids. It sounds really meaningful. Simone, sweetie, I love you. You know I do. But are you sure about this? Nathan hurt you badly. What if he does it again? I don't know if I'm sure about anything, Simone admitted. But I made a promise to myself to be open to new experiences. To not let fear control my life. And maybe this is supposed to happen. Maybe we needed to see each other again to get real closure. Or maybe... She paused. Maybe people really can change. Just promise me you'll be careful, Vanessa said. Guard your heart. Don't let him back in until you're absolutely sure he's earned it. I promise. After hanging up, Simone went to her closet to choose something to wear. She settled on jeans and a bright red blouse, casual but put together. She wasn't trying to impress Nathan, she told herself. She was just dressing appropriately for visiting a youth center. At 9:30, she pulled up to the address Nathan had texted. It was a large brick building in a neighborhood she didn't know well, a part of the city that had clearly seen better days but was showing signs of renewal. Colorful murals decorated some of the buildings. Community gardens sprouted between older structures. It felt like a place that was fighting to thrive. Nathan was waiting outside, wearing jeans and a blue polo shirt. He looked younger somehow, more relaxed than he had in his suit the night before. His face lit up when he saw her. You came, he said, walking over to her car. I said I would. Simone got out, adjusting her purse on her shoulder. So this is it? This is it. The Pierce Foundation Community Center. He gestured to the building with obvious pride. We opened 2 years ago. Started small, just a tutoring program. But it's grown. Now we have mentorship programs, college prep courses, job training for parents, even a food pantry. That's impressive, Simone said, meaning it. How did you find this location? Actually, this building was abandoned for years. The city was going to tear it down. But I bought it instead, renovated it. Kept the original brick and structure but made it safe and functional. The neighborhood needed resources and this building needed a purpose. It felt right. He led her inside, and Simone was immediately struck by how welcoming the space felt. Bright colors on the walls. Student artwork displayed in frames. Comfortable seating areas with books and games. It didn't feel institutional or sterile. It felt like a place where kids would actually want to spend time. This is beautiful, she said, looking around. You designed this? With help from the community. We asked the kids and their parents what they wanted to see, what they needed. Then we built it together. Literally. A lot of the parents helped with the renovation. Made it feel like it belonged to them, not just something rich people did for them. Simone noticed the difference in how Nathan talked about the foundation versus how he used to talk about his business. There was genuine care in his voice, real pride that came from helping others rather than personal achievement. A young boy, maybe 10 years old, came running up. Mr. Pierce. You're here. Are you going to help with math today? I am, Marcus. Nathan ruffled the boy's hair. Is your mom here too? She's in the food pantry. We're getting groceries. The boy turned to Simone with open curiosity. Who are you? This is my friend Simone, Nathan introduced her. She's here to learn about what we do. Cool. Do you like math? 'Cause I hate it. But Mr. Pierce makes it less terrible. Simone laughed. I don't mind math. What's giving you trouble? Fractions. They're the worst. Fractions are tricky, Simone agreed. But once you understand them, they're actually pretty useful. That's what Mr. Pierce says. Marcus looked skeptical. I don't believe either of you. Nathan smiled. Go get set up in the tutoring room. I'll be there in a few minutes. The boy ran off, full of energy. Nathan turned to Simone. That's Marcus Johnson. Smart kid, but he struggles with school. His mom works 2 jobs, so she doesn't have much time to help with homework. We've been working together for about a year now. He's improved a lot. You tutor him yourself? Simone was surprised. Don't you have staff for that? We do. But I like being hands-on. These kids don't need someone throwing money at their problems. They need someone who shows up. Who cares? Who sees them as individuals, not charity cases. They walked through the building, Nathan showing her different rooms and programs. The computer lab with 20 new machines. The art room with supplies that most schools couldn't afford. The gym where kids could play basketball or do fitness classes. The kitchen where cooking classes taught both kids and adults how to make healthy meals on a budget. How many people does this serve? Simone asked. About 200 families right now. We're at capacity, honestly. I'm looking at opening a second location next year if we can get the funding and support. And you run all of this? I oversee it, but I have an amazing team. Janet Rodriguez is our director. She's the one who really makes everything work. I just sign the checks and show up when I can. They ended up in the tutoring room, where about 15 kids sat at tables with volunteers helping them with various subjects. Marcus waved from his seat and Nathan walked over to join him. Simone watched as Nathan sat down and patiently worked through fraction problems, making silly jokes that had Marcus giggling while actually learning. A woman in her 40s approached Simone. You must be Simone. Nathan mentioned you might visit today. I'm Janet Rodriguez. It's nice to meet you. Simone shook her hand. This is an incredible place. It is now. You should have seen it when we started. Nathan had a vision, but turning that vision into reality took a lot of work. He was here almost every day during the renovation, working alongside contractors and volunteers. He carried drywall, painted walls, installed shelves. He wanted to understand every part of this place. That doesn't sound like the Nathan I knew, Simone said without thinking, then felt embarrassed. Sorry? That was personal information. Janet smiled knowingly. You're his ex-wife, right? He mentioned you once. Said losing you was his biggest regret. Said it taught him what really matters in life. Simone didn't know what to say to that. She watched Nathan with Marcus, seeing the patience and kindness in every interaction. This wasn't an act. This wasn't Nathan trying to impress anyone. This was genuine care. He's different than he used to be, Janet continued. I've worked with a lot of wealthy benefactors over the years. Most of them want their name on a building and a tax write-off. Nathan wants to actually make a difference. He knows every kid's name, remembers their stories, shows up to their school plays and graduations. He's the real deal. How long have you known him? Simone asked. 2 years since the foundation started. And I've seen him grow and change in that time too. When we first met, he was running from something. Pain maybe. Regret. He threw himself into this work like his life depended on it. But over time, it became less about running and more about genuinely caring. He found purpose here. A teenage girl approached them. Miss Janet, can you help me with this essay? I don't know if my thesis statement is strong enough. Of course, Kayla. Let me see. Janet turned to Simone. Feel free to look around. Stay as long as you like. Nathan will probably be here for a while. Simone wandered through the center, observing the different programs in action. In one room, older teenagers were practicing job interview skills. In another, parents were taking an ESL class. In the gym, a pickup basketball game had started with volunteers playing alongside kids. She found herself in the art room where a young girl, maybe 13, was painting a landscape. It was beautiful, full of vibrant colors and obvious talent. That's amazing, Simone said. The girl looked up, surprised. Thank you. I'm trying to get better. Mr. Pierce says if I keep practicing, maybe I could go to art school someday. Mr. Pierce said that? Yeah. He says all of us have gifts, we just need support to develop them. He helped me apply for a summer art program. Paid for it too when my mom couldn't afford it. Simone felt something shift inside her. This was the Nathan she had fallen in love with. The one who saw potential in others. The one who cared about more than just money and success. Where had this man been during their marriage? Or had he always been there, buried under ambition and fear? She spent the next hour talking to kids and volunteers, hearing story after story about how the foundation had changed lives. How Nathan had shown up to a kid's hospital stay. How he had helped a family pay rent when they were about to be evicted. How he remembered birthdays and brought cupcakes. How he made each person feel seen and valued. When she returned to the tutoring room, Nathan was wrapping up with Marcus, giving him a high five. You did great today, buddy. Keep practicing those fractions. Only because you make me, Marcus said, but he was smiling. Can Miss Simone come back next week? Nathan looked at Simone with hope in his eyes. That's up to her. We'll see, Simone said, not ready to commit but not wanting to disappoint the boy either. After Marcus left with his mother, Nathan and Simone walked outside into the bright afternoon sun. They stood on the sidewalk, neither quite ready to say goodbye. So, Nathan said, what did you think? I think you've built something really special here, Simone said honestly. Those kids adore you. The staff respects you. You're making a real difference. But Nathan sensed there was more. But I don't understand where this Nathan was 7 years ago. When we were married. Why couldn't you be this present, this caring with me? Nathan leaned against his car looking up at the sky. Because I was broken, Simone. I was so focused on proving my worth through money and success that I forgot about everything else. My mom died and instead of grieving, I worked harder. You needed me and instead of being there, I worked harder. I didn't know how to be vulnerable. How to admit I was scared and hurting. So I hid behind work. Behind achievement. Behind this idea that if I just made enough money, earned enough respect, everything would be okay. And now? Simone asked quietly. Now I know that was all garbage. Money doesn't heal pain. Success doesn't fill the void. Connection does. Purpose does. Love does. He looked at her. Losing you broke me open in a way nothing else could. And in that breaking, I had to rebuild myself differently. Had to figure out what actually matters. This foundation, these kids, this work. It's not about me. It's about showing up for something bigger than myself. Something that matters. Simone felt tears threatening but blinked them back. I wish we could have figured that out together. Before it was too late. Maybe it's not too late, Nathan said softly. Maybe we're getting a second chance to do it right. I don't know if I believe in second chances, Simone admitted. At least not for relationships. People can change, sure. But can relationships? Can you really go back and fix something that broke so completely? Maybe you don't go back, Nathan suggested. Maybe you start fresh. Build something new with the wisdom of what you learned from what broke. Simone looked at him, really looked at him. At the hope in his eyes. At the sincerity in his expression. At the man he had become. And she felt her carefully constructed walls beginning to crack. I need time, she said. This is a lot to process. Seeing you again. Seeing this place. Understanding how much you've changed. I need to think about what it all means. Take all the time you need, Nathan said. I'm not going anywhere. And I'm not going to pressure you. Whatever you decide, I'll respect it. Even if it's that we go our separate ways. Thank you for showing me this, Simone said. For letting me see this side of you. It helps. It really does. Can I see you again? Maybe you could show me your work? I'd love to hear more about your counseling practice. Simone smiled. I'd like that. Let me look at my schedule and I'll text you some options. Perfect. Nathan opened her car door for her, an old gesture that felt both familiar and new. Drive safe. As Simone drove away, she watched Nathan in her rearview mirror, standing on the sidewalk watching her go. And for the first time in 3 years, she let herself wonder if maybe, just maybe, some things were worth fighting for twice. That evening, Simone sat in her apartment, a cup of tea growing cold on the coffee table as she stared at her phone. She had promised to text Nathan with times to get together, but she couldn't seem to type the message. Her mind was a mess of conflicting emotions. She pulled out an old photo album she kept hidden in her closet, something she hadn't looked at in over a year. Inside were pictures from their relationship. Their first date at a street fair. Their engagement at the beach. Their wedding day, both of them beaming with happiness and hope. She studied a photo taken at their wedding reception. Nathan was looking at her with such pure love that it made her chest ache. She remembered that moment. He had just finished his toast, promising to love her every day for the rest of his life. Promising to be her partner in all things. Promising to never let work come between them. So many promises, all of them broken. But as she flipped through the album, she also saw the gradual change. Nathan's smile becoming more strained. Her own eyes looking more tired, more sad. Fewer photos of them together as the years went on. The visual record of a marriage slowly dying. The last photo in the album was from their second anniversary. They were at a restaurant, forced smiles on both their faces. Nathan had shown up an hour late, distracted by phone calls throughout dinner. Simone remembered taking this photo and thinking it might be the last one they ever took together. 6 months later, she had asked for the divorce. Her phone buzzed with a text from Nathan. I hope you got home safe. Thank you again for today. It meant everything to me. Simone stared at the message, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. She could ignore it. She could send a polite response and then slowly back away. Or she could be honest about what she was feeling. She chose honesty. I'm looking at old photos of us. From when we were married. Remembering the good times and the bad. Trying to figure out if what we had is worth trying to rebuild. His response came quickly. What are you thinking? I'm thinking that I don't want to get hurt again. I'm thinking that seeing you with those kids today showed me a version of you I wish I had known when we were together. I'm thinking this is really complicated. It is complicated. Can I call you? Simone hesitated, then replied, yes. Her phone rang immediately. She answered, her heart racing. Hi. Nathan's voice was soft through the line. Hi. I'm glad you're looking at old photos. I do that sometimes too. Try to remember the good parts. Try to understand where it all went wrong. When did you know it was over? Simone asked. When did you realize our marriage was ending? Nathan was quiet for a moment. The day you asked for the divorce. I was blindsided, Simone. I truly didn't see it coming. I knew things weren't perfect, but I thought we were okay. I thought we were just going through a rough patch. When you said you wanted to end it, my whole world collapsed. You didn't see it coming? Simone felt anger flare in her chest. Nathan, I told you I was unhappy. Multiple times. I asked you to spend more time with me. I suggested counseling. I practically begged you to notice that our marriage was dying. How did you not see it? Because I didn't want to see it, Nathan admitted. I was in denial. I told myself you were just stressed. That once the next big deal closed, things would get better. I was so lost in my own head that I couldn't see what was right in front of me. Do you remember our second anniversary? Simone asked, looking at the photo again. We went to that Italian place downtown. You showed up an hour late. You spent half the dinner on your phone. I cried myself to sleep that night, and you didn't even notice because you came home after I was already asleep. I remember, Nathan said quietly. I remember so many nights like that. Coming home late. You already asleep. Waking up early before you got up. Living parallel lives under the same roof. I thought I was doing the right thing. Working hard to build our future. But I was really just running away from the present. Running from what? Simone asked. From vulnerability. From the possibility of failure. From having to admit that I didn't know how to balance everything. It's easier to work than to deal with feelings, you know? Work has clear goals and outcomes. Relationships are messy and complicated and require constant effort. I chose the easy path. And I lost you because of it. Simone felt tears sliding down her cheeks. I loved you so much, Nathan. You were my whole world. And watching you pull away, watching you choose everything else over me, it killed me slowly. I know. And I'm sorry. I've said it before, but I'll say it 1,000,000 times if that's what it takes. I'm sorry for the pain I caused. I'm sorry for being blind and selfish. I'm sorry for taking your love for granted. They sat in silence for a moment, both processing the weight of their conversation. Outside Simone's window, the city was settling into evening. Lights coming on in apartments. People coming home from their days. Life continuing all around them while they sat suspended in their own bubble of past and present. Tell me about when you knew it was over, Nathan said. From your side. I want to understand your experience. Simone wiped her tears and took a shaky breath. It wasn't one moment. It was 1,000 small moments. Every missed dinner. Every forgotten date. Every time you chose a business meeting over our relationship. But if I had to pick the moment I truly knew, it was 6 months before I asked for the divorce. What happened? I had a miscarriage. The line went silent. Simone could hear Nathan's sharp intake of breath. What? His voice was barely a whisper. I was pregnant, Nathan. 8 weeks. I hadn't told you yet because I wanted to wait until the first trimester was over. I was going to surprise you. But then I started bleeding at work. I drove myself to the hospital. Sat in the emergency room alone. Lost our baby alone. Because you were in Chicago for a conference and I didn't want to bother you. Simone. Nathan's voice broke. Why didn't you tell me? Because by that point I had learned that I wasn't your priority. That your work would always come first. I convinced myself I was being strong. Being independent. Not needing you. But the truth was I needed you desperately and you weren't there. And when you got home 2 days later, I couldn't bring myself to tell you. Because what would have been the point? You would have felt guilty and thrown yourself into work even harder to cope. That's what you always did. I would have come home, Nathan said, his voice thick with emotion. If you had called me, I would have been on the next flight. I would have dropped everything. Would you? Simone challenged. Really? Or would you have said you'd come and then gotten caught up in an important meeting? Or made it back but been distracted and distant? Because that's what always happened, Nathan. You promised to show up and then you didn't. Not in the ways that mattered. You're right, Nathan said quietly. You're absolutely right. I had a track record of letting you down. No wonder you didn't call me. I had proved time and again that I couldn't be relied on. That miscarriage broke something in me, Simone continued. It made me realize that I couldn't bring a child into our marriage. That I couldn't be a single mother while married. That I deserved a partner who would actually be there. So I started planning my exit. Saving money. Looking for apartments. Getting my life ready for being alone. Because I realized I was already alone anyway. Nathan was crying now. She could hear it in his breathing, in the small sounds he was trying to suppress. I'm so sorry, Simone. I'm sorry for all of it. For not being there. For making you feel like you had to go through that alone. For failing you in every way a husband can fail. I know you are, Simone said softly. And I believe you. But Nathan, I need you to understand something. Seeing you now, seeing how you've changed, seeing you with those kids at the foundation, it makes me wonder what our marriage could have been. And that's almost harder than when you were just the villain in my story. Because now I have to accept that you were capable of being that present, that caring, that attentive all along. You just weren't willing to do it for me. That's not true, Nathan protested. I didn't know how to be that person then. I wasn't capable of it during our marriage. Losing you taught me how. Your absence created the space for me to figure out what I was doing wrong. So I had to leave for you to become the man I needed you to be? Simone felt the unfairness of it like a weight on her chest. That's not comforting, Nathan. That's tragic. I know. It is tragic. And it's not fair. You deserved that man while we were married. You deserved everything I'm finally capable of giving now. And I hate that I couldn't be that for you then. Simone closed the photo album, unable to look at those happy faces anymore. Where does that leave us? You've changed. I believe that. But does it matter if the change came too late? I don't know, Nathan admitted. I want to believe it's not too late. I want to believe we could build something new. But I understand if you can't. If the hurt is too deep. If the trust is too broken. I need to tell you something, Simone said after a moment. When I agreed to this blind date, part of me was hoping to find someone who could make me forget you. Someone who could help me move on completely. And then you walked into that restaurant, and I realized I've been comparing every man I meet to you. Not to who you were during our marriage, but to who you were in the beginning. To the man I fell in love with. And no one has ever measured up. Same here, Nathan said. I've tried dating. Tried moving on. But everyone I meet just reminds me of what I lost. What I threw away. You're it for me, Simone. You always have been. I know I don't have the right to say that after how I treated you. But it's true. Simone stood up, walking to her window. The city stretched out before her, millions of people living their lives, facing their own choices and crossroads. What do you want from me, Nathan? Really? Not just the polite, let's be friends answer. What do you actually want? I want you back, Nathan said simply. I want another chance to love you the way you deserve to be loved. I want to show you every day that I've changed. That I understand what matters now. That I'll never take you for granted again. But I know that might not be possible. I know I might have destroyed any chance we had. So I'll settle for whatever you're willing to give me. Friendship. Occasional coffee. Just being in your life in whatever capacity you'll allow. That's a lot of pressure, Simone said. Making me choose our future. It's not all on you, Nathan assured her. This is a choice we both have to make. And we have to make it together. I'm just telling you what I want. What you want matters just as much. More actually. Because you're the one who got hurt. You're the one who has to decide if you can trust me again. Simone leaned her forehead against the cool glass of the window. I don't know if I can, Nathan. Trust you again, I mean. Part of me wants to. Part of me sees the man you've become and thinks maybe we could make it work. But another part of me is terrified. Terrified of opening my heart again only to have it broken. Terrified of believing you and then watching you fall back into old patterns. Terrified that I'm being stupid and naive. You're not stupid or naive, Nathan said firmly. You're careful and cautious and you have every right to be. I broke your trust. I broke your heart. You don't owe me forgiveness. You don't owe me a second chance. Whatever you decide, it's okay. I promise I'll respect it. Can I ask you something? Simone said. If we did try again, what would be different? Not just promises, but actual, concrete differences. Because I can't go back to how things were. I won't survive it. Everything would be different, Nathan said with certainty. First, I've already scaled back my involvement with the company. I'm still CEO, but I have a management team that handles day-to-day operations. I work normal hours now. 8 to 6, sometimes less. No more 18-hour days. No more choosing work over life. That's a start, Simone acknowledged. Second, I've been in therapy for 2 years. Working through my issues with vulnerability and control. Learning how to be emotionally present. How to communicate. How to ask for help instead of shutting down. It's helped me understand myself in ways I never did before. Therapy? Really? Every week. Wednesdays at 4. I've learned more about myself in those sessions than in my entire life before that. I learned that my drive for success was really about proving I was worthy. That I was enough. Because deep down I never felt like I was. And I used work to validate my existence instead of building real connections. Simone felt something shift in her chest. The Nathan she had married would never have admitted to needing therapy. Would never have been vulnerable enough to do that kind of internal work. What else? Third, I have boundaries now. I don't take calls during dinner. I don't work on weekends unless it's an absolute emergency. And I mean emergency, not just important. I've learned to say no. To delegate. To trust other people to handle things. Because I finally understand that no amount of success is worth sacrificing the people I love. Those are good changes, Simone admitted. Really good changes. But most importantly, Nathan continued, I've learned that love is a choice. It's not just a feeling that happens to you. It's a daily decision to show up, to be present, to put someone else's needs alongside your own. I didn't understand that during our marriage. I thought loving you meant providing for you, giving you a nice house and financial security. But that's not love. Love is attention, time, presence, choosing to be there even when it's hard or inconvenient. Simone felt tears streaming down her face again. These were the words she had needed to hear years ago, the understanding she had begged him to have. Why couldn't you have figured this out while we were married? Because I wasn't ready to learn it yet. I was too proud, too stubborn, too convinced I had all the answers. Sometimes people have to lose everything to understand what actually matters. That's what happened to me. Losing you destroyed me. But it also rebuilt me into someone better. Someone worthy of you. They sat in silence, the weight of everything they had shared settling between them. Simone's phone buzzed with another text from Vanessa, but she ignored it. This moment felt too important to interrupt. I need time, Simone said finally. I need to process all of this. The miscarriage. Seeing you again. Understanding how much you've changed. It's too much to decide right now. Take all the time you need, Nathan said. I'll be here. Whenever you're ready. Whatever you decide. Thank you for listening, Simone said. For not getting defensive when I told you about the miscarriage. For letting me be honest about how much you hurt me. Thank you for trusting me with that truth, Nathan replied. I know it wasn't easy to share. And I'm sorry. So deeply. Sorry that you went through that alone. If I could go back and change it, I would. But I can't. All I can do is promise to never let you be alone again. If you give me the chance. After they hung up, Simone sat in the growing darkness of her apartment, not bothering to turn on lights. She felt emotionally exhausted but also strangely lighter. She had told Nathan about the miscarriage, something she had never planned to share. And his response had been everything she would have needed back then. Compassion. Sorrow. Understanding. But was it enough? Could past pain be healed by present understanding? Could a relationship that had broken so completely really be rebuilt? She didn't have answers. But for the first time in 3 years she was willing to look for them. If you're loving this story and want to know what happens next, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next chapter. And drop a comment below. Do you think Simone should give Nathan a real second chance? Or is she setting herself up to get hurt again? I'd love to hear your thoughts. 3 days passed before Simone reached out to Nathan again. 3 days of thinking, processing, and trying to make sense of her tangled emotions. She talked to Vanessa, who urged caution. She talked to her mentor from graduate school, who reminded her that forgiveness was different from reconciliation. She sat with her own heart and asked it what it truly wanted. The answer kept coming back the same. She wanted to try. Not to rush into anything. Not to pretend the past didn't happen. But to explore whether the man Nathan had become could be trusted with her heart again. She texted him on Tuesday evening. Are you free this Saturday? I'd like to show you my work. Maybe we could have lunch after? His response came within minutes. I'd love that. Thank you for reaching out. I was starting to worry I'd scared you off. You didn't scare me. I just needed time to think. That's fair. Saturday works perfect. Just tell me where and when. Saturday morning, Nathan pulled up to the community center where Simone ran her counseling practice. It was a modest building, nothing fancy, but it was clean and welcoming. A sign out front read New Horizons Family Services, in cheerful blue letters. Simone met him at the door wearing jeans and a green sweater. She looked nervous but determined. Hi. Hi. Nathan wanted to hug her but wasn't sure if that would be welcome. Instead he offered a smile. Ready to show me around? Come on in. The center was smaller than Nathan's foundation but had a similar warm atmosphere. Comfortable waiting room with magazines and toys for kids. Colorful artwork on the walls. A sense that this was a safe space where people could bring their problems and find support. I share this space with 3 other counselors, Simone explained as they walked down a hallway. We each have our own office but we share the common areas. It keeps costs down and creates a nice community feel. She showed him her office, a small but cozy room with a comfortable couch, 2 chairs and shelves lined with books. A window overlooked a small garden outside. It felt peaceful, like a place where difficult conversations could happen without judgment. This is nice, Nathan said looking around. It feels like you. Thank you. I've worked hard to make it feel safe for my clients. Some of them are dealing with really hard stuff. Divorce, loss, family conflict. They need a space where they can be vulnerable. What made you want to do this kind of work? Nathan asked, settling into one of the chairs. Simone sat on the couch, tucking her legs under her. Honestly? Our divorce. Going through that, trying to make sense of why our marriage failed, it made me realize how many people struggle with relationships and don't have good support. My own therapist helped me so much during that time. She helped me see patterns I couldn't see on my own. Helped me understand my role and what went wrong. I wanted to do that for other people. So I inspired your career choice, Nathan said with a sad smile. By being a terrible husband. You weren't entirely terrible, Simone corrected gently. You were flawed and human. Like we all are. But yeah, our marriage ending pushed me to really examine what makes relationships work or fail. I went back to school, got additional training in family therapy. Started this practice about 2 years ago. What kind of cases do you usually see? Everything. Couples on the brink of divorce who want to try to save their marriage. Parents struggling to connect with their teenagers. People dealing with grief or major life transitions. I have one couple right now who've been married for 30 years but feel like strangers. They're trying to remember why they fell in love in the first place. Do you think they'll make it? Nathan asked. I don't know. But I think they have a chance if they're both willing to do the work. That's the key. Both people have to want it. Both people have to be willing to change and grow and face uncomfortable truths. You can't save a relationship by yourself. Nathan heard the unspoken message in her words. Whatever happened between them, it would require both of them to be all in. No halfway measures. Tell me about your favorite success story, he said. Something that makes this work worth it. Simone thought for a moment then smiled. I have a couple, Paul and Rita Okonkwo. They came to me about a year ago. Married 15 years, 2 kids. Paul had been laid off from his job and was struggling with depression. Rita was working 2 jobs to keep them afloat, and they were barely speaking to each other. Just ships passing in the night, drowning in stress and resentment. What did you do? First, I helped them remember they were on the same team. When you're overwhelmed, it's easy to see your partner as the enemy instead of your ally. They had to stop blaming each other and start supporting each other. Then we worked on communication. Paul needed to be honest about his depression instead of hiding it. Rita needed to ask for help instead of trying to carry everything alone. And it took months of hard work, but they made it. Paul got help for his depression, found a new job. Rita cut back to 1 job once they were more stable financially. But more importantly, they reconnected. Remembered why they chose each other. Last month they came in for their final session and brought me flowers. Said I saved their marriage. But I didn't save it. They did. I just gave them tools. Nathan felt something tighten in his chest. Do you think we needed tools like that? During our marriage? Could therapy have saved us? Simone met his eyes. Maybe. If we'd gone when I first suggested it. If you'd been ready to do the work. But Nathan, you weren't ready then. You weren't in a place where you could receive help or admit you needed it. That's not blame. That's just truth. Sometimes timing matters as much as love. And now? Nathan asked carefully. Do you think the timing is better now? I don't know. But I'm willing to find out. That's why I asked you here. They spent the next hour talking about her work, her clients, her approach to therapy. Nathan listened, genuinely interested, asking thoughtful questions. Simone found herself relaxing, enjoying the conversation in a way she hadn't with him in years. Around noon, they walked to a small cafe down the street. It was a local place, nothing fancy, with mismatched chairs and homemade soup. They ordered sandwiches and sat by the window watching people walk by. Can I tell you something? Nathan said, stirring sugar into his coffee. This, right now, is what I missed most about us. Just talking. Being together. No pressure, no agenda. Just 2 people enjoying each other's company. We used to be good at this, Simone agreed. The talking part. You could always make me laugh. We could talk for hours about everything and nothing. When did we stop? Nathan asked. Gradually. So gradually I didn't notice at first. You got busier. I got lonelier. We started avoiding real conversation because it meant confronting problems we didn't want to face. Pretty soon all we talked about was logistics. Bills and schedules and surface stuff. The deep talks disappeared. I miss knowing you, Nathan said quietly. I miss being the person you told your secrets to. Your dreams and fears. I miss being your best friend. I miss that too, Simone admitted. More than I've let myself acknowledge. I have good friends now. Vanessa, my colleagues. But it's not the same as having a partner who really knows you. All your flaws and quirks and still chooses to love you. Tell me something I don't know about you now, Nathan said. Something that's changed since we split. Simone thought for a moment. I learned to cook. Like really cook. During our marriage, I barely knew how to boil water. But after the divorce, I realized I was eating takeout every night and feeling terrible. So I took cooking classes, watched YouTube videos, experimented. Now I love it. It's therapeutic. There's something satisfying about creating something with your hands. That's wonderful, Nathan said. What's your signature dish? I make a really good chicken curry. My neighbor is from India and she taught me. It takes hours, but it's worth it. I'd love to try it sometime, Nathan said, then quickly added, if you'd want to cook for me. No pressure. Simone smiled. Maybe. Tell me something I don't know about you. I started painting, Nathan said, looking slightly embarrassed. Terrible paintings. Really awful. But the art teacher at the foundation offered lessons to anyone who wanted them, and I thought, why not? Turns out I have zero natural talent. But it's fun. And humbling. Good for the ego to suck at something. Simone laughed, a real laugh that felt good. I can't picture you painting. You were always so driven to be the best at everything. That's why it's good for me. I'm the worst painter in the class. Kids half my age or better. But I keep showing up, keep trying. It's taught me that not everything in life has to be about winning or succeeding. Sometimes you do things just because they bring you joy, even if you're terrible at them. They talked through lunch and into the early afternoon, rediscovering each other. Simone told him about her book club, her volunteer work at a women's shelter, her dream of someday writing a book about relationship patterns. Nathan told her about his fear of failure, his complicated relationship with success, his hope to eventually step back from the business entirely and focus on the foundation full-time. When do you think you'll do that? Simone asked. Step back from the company? Maybe in a few years. I want to make sure everything is stable first. That the foundation has enough funding to sustain itself. But yeah, I want to spend my life doing work that matters. Making money stopped feeling important once I had more than I could ever spend. Now I just want to make a difference. That's a complete 180 from the Nathan I married, Simone observed. He wanted to build an empire. Wanted to be the next big tech billionaire. I know. And I did it. Built the empire. Became the billionaire. And I realized it's meaningless if you have no one to share it with. If you're not using it to help others. Money is just paper if it doesn't have purpose. As they walked back to the community center where their cars were parked, Nathan worked up the courage to ask the question that had been on his mind all day. Can I see you again? I mean, I know we just saw each other. But can this become a regular thing? Not necessarily dating. Not yet. But just spending time together. Getting to know each other again. Simone stopped walking, turning to face him. The afternoon sun caught her face, making her eyes almost golden. I think I'd like that. But Nathan, we need to set some ground rules. I need boundaries to feel safe. Of course. Whatever you need. First we take this slow. Like really slow. No rushing into anything. No pressure to define what this is or where it's going. We're just two people spending time together and seeing if there's still something here worth exploring. Agreed. What else? Second, total honesty. Always. Even when it's uncomfortable. Something bothers you, say it. If you're scared or worried or having doubts, talk to me. I can't do this if there are secrets or if you're just telling me what you think I want to hear. I can do that. I want that. Third, and this is important. If at any point I decide this isn't working for me, you have to respect that. No fighting me on it. No trying to change my mind. Just accepting it and letting me go. Can you do that? Nathan felt a flutter of fear at the thought of losing her again. But he nodded. Yes. I don't want to, but yes. Your choice matters more than what I want. If you decide I'm not worth the risk, I'll respect that. Okay then. Simone took a deep breath. Let's try this. Let's see if what we had can be rebuilt into something better. They stood there for a moment, neither quite sure how to say goodbye. Finally, Nathan took a step closer. Can I hug you? Just as friends. Just because I'm grateful for today. Simone hesitated, then stepped into his arms. The hug was brief but warm, and for a moment she let herself remember what it felt like to be held by him. To feel safe and wanted. When they pulled apart, they were both smiling. Text me, Simone said. We'll figure out when to see each other next. I will. Thank you, Simone. For giving me this chance. For being willing to try. It means everything to me. As Nathan drove away, Simone stood in the parking lot, watching his car disappear into traffic. Her heart felt lighter than it had in years, but also scared. She was stepping onto uncertain ground, risking her hard-won peace for the possibility of something more. But maybe that's what love always was. A risk. A choice to be vulnerable even when it might lead to pain. A decision to hope even when you'd been hurt before. She pulled out her phone and texted Vanessa. I think I'm giving him a real chance. Not sure if I'm being brave or stupid. Vanessa's response came quickly. Maybe you're being both. But I trust you to know what you need. I'm here whatever happens. Love you. Love you too. Simone got in her car and drove home, her mind full of possibilities. For the first time since her divorce, she let herself imagine a future that included Nathan. Not the Nathan from her past, but this new version. The one who showed up. The one who did the work. The one who maybe, just maybe, had learned what love really meant. She didn't know if it would work out. Didn't know if broken trust could be fully repaired. But she was willing to find out. And that felt like a kind of victory all on its own. Over the next 2 weeks, Simone and Nathan fell into an easy rhythm. Coffee on Tuesday mornings before work. Lunch on Fridays at that little cafe they both liked. Long phone calls in the evenings where they talked about everything from politics to their favorite movies to childhood memories they'd never shared before. It felt like dating but different. There was a comfort that came from having history together, from already knowing each other's quirks and habits. But there was also caution, both of them careful not to move too fast or assume too much. Vanessa watched this development with a mix of hope and worry. Just be careful, she told Simone over brunch one Sunday. I can see you falling for him again. I can see it in your eyes when you talk about him. But remember what he put you through. People can change, but they can also slip back into old patterns when things get stressful. I know, Simone said, pushing her eggs around her plate. I'm trying to stay grounded. To not get swept up in hope and nostalgia. But he really is different. He shows up. He listens. He's present in a way he never was before. For now, Vanessa cautioned. But what happens when something stressful happens with his business? What happens when there's a crisis and he has to choose between you and work? That's the real test. Simone knew her friend was right. It was easy to be attentive and present during a honeymoon phase. The real question was whether Nathan could maintain it when life got hard. On a bright Saturday in early spring, Nathan invited Simone to spend the whole day with him. I want to show you more of my life now, he said over the phone. Not just the foundation but other parts too. Will you let me? Simone agreed, curious about what he had planned. He picked her up at 9 in the morning, wearing jeans and a maroon Henley shirt, looking relaxed and happy. Where are we going? Simone asked as she got in his car. First stop is the farmer's market. I go every Saturday. It's become my favorite ritual. You shop at farmers markets? Simone couldn't hide her surprise. Since when? Since about a year ago. Janet, from the foundation, she dragged me to one. Said I needed to stop eating restaurant food and start cooking real meals. So now I go every week. Buy fresh produce, chat with the vendors, take my time. It's peaceful. They spent an hour wandering through stalls of colorful vegetables, fresh bread, and handmade crafts. Nathan knew several of the vendors by name, stopping to chat and joke with them. He bought tomatoes from an older man named Mr. Park, explaining to Simone that Mr. Park had the best tomatoes in the city and grew them without any pesticides. You're different, Simone observed as they walked, Nathan carrying a bag of vegetables and fresh flowers. Lighter somehow. Like you're not carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. I'm not, Nathan said simply. I used to think I had to be responsible for everything. Control everything. Make sure every detail was perfect. But I've learned to let go. To trust other people. To accept that some things are out of my control and that's okay. From the farmer's market they drove to the foundation. Some of the kids Simone had met before were there for a Saturday activity day. Marcus ran up to Nathan as soon as they walked in. Mr. Pierce. Miss Simone. You came together. Are you boyfriend and girlfriend? We're friends, Nathan said, ruffling Marcus's hair. What are you working on today? Building robots. Come see. They spent the next hour helping kids with a robotics project. Simone found herself genuinely enjoying it, watching the kids' faces light up as their creations came to life. She also watched Nathan, seeing how patient and encouraging he was. How he celebrated small victories and helped problem solve when things went wrong. This was so far from the stressed, distracted man she had been married to that it was almost hard to believe they were the same person. Okay, confession, Nathan said as they left the foundation. I have one more stop planned, but it's a little unconventional. I'm intrigued. He drove them to a cemetery on the outskirts of the city. Simone looked at him questioningly. My mom's grave, he explained. I come once a month. Talk to her. Tell her what's going on in my life. I know it sounds strange, but it helps me process things. That's not strange, Simone said softly. That's beautiful. They walked through the quiet cemetery until Nathan stopped at a simple headstone. Catherine Pierce. Beloved mother. The dates showed she died at only 53. Hi Mom, Nathan said, kneeling down and placing the fresh flowers he'd bought at the market. I brought someone to meet you. Well, to meet you again, I guess. You remember Simone? My wife. Well, ex-wife. But maybe not ex for much longer if I'm lucky. Simone felt tears prick her eyes. She had loved Nathan's mother, had been devastated when she died. But she hadn't visited the grave since the divorce. It felt like something only family did. She's giving me another chance, Mom, Nathan continued, his voice thick with emotion. I know I don't deserve it. I know I screwed up the first time in every way possible. But I'm trying to be the man you raised me to be. The one who shows up. Who keeps his promises. Who treats the people he loves with the care and respect they deserve. Simone knelt beside him, placing her hand on his shoulder. Hi Catherine. I've missed you. Missed your advice and your kindness. Your son has become someone you'd be proud of. He's helping so many people. Making a real difference in the world. They sat in comfortable silence for a few minutes. Then Nathan spoke again. I'm scared, Mom. Scared I'll mess this up again. Scared Simone will see the old me creep back. Scared I'm not really as changed as I think I am. But I'm trying. Every day I'm trying to be better. You're doing more than trying, Simone said quietly. You're succeeding. Your mom would see that. I see that. Nathan looked at her, his eyes shining with unshed tears. Do you? Really? Because sometimes I worry this is all temporary. That I'm just on my best behavior because I'm trying to win you back. That once we're comfortable again, I'll slip back into old habits. That's a valid fear, Simone said honestly. And it's good that you're aware of it. That's part of what makes me believe you've really changed. The old you would never have admitted to being scared or uncertain. You would have just buelled forward with confidence. They stayed at the cemetery for another 20 minutes, Nathan telling his mother about the foundation, about the kids, about his hope for the future. When they finally left, both felt emotionally raw but also closer somehow. Grief had a way of stripping away pretense, leaving only truth. Thank you for bringing me here, Simone said as they drove away. For including me in something so personal. I want you to see all of me, Nathan said. The vulnerable parts. The scared parts. The parts that aren't polished and perfect. Because that's real intimacy, isn't it? Letting someone see you completely and trusting they'll stay. They stopped for late lunch at a small diner. Over burgers and fries, Nathan asked the question he'd been building up to all day. Simone, I need to tell you something. And I need you to really hear me. Okay? She felt nervous at his serious tone. I know we're taking this slow. I know we're not officially dating. But I need you to know where I stand. I'm falling in love with you again. Or maybe I never stopped being in love with you. Either way, my feelings are real and deep and not going anywhere. Simone's heart raced. Nathan. Let me finish, he said gently. I'm not telling you this to pressure you or to make you say it back. I'm telling you because I promised honesty. And it wouldn't be honest to pretend I just want to be friends. I want more. I want everything. I want to rebuild what we had into something even better. I want a second chance at forever. Simone set down her burger, her hands trembling slightly. I need you to understand something. I care about you. I'm enjoying getting to know you again. But I'm not ready to say I love you. I'm not ready to jump back into a relationship with both feet. The hurt from our divorce, it's still there. I've healed a lot, but the scar tissue remains. I understand, Nathan said. And I'm not asking you to be where I am. I'm just being honest about where I stand. Take all the time you need. I'll wait. However long it takes. What if I'm never ready? Simone asked. What if I decide the risk is too high? That I can't trust you not to hurt me again? Then I'll be devastated, Nathan admitted. But I'll respect it. I'll thank you for the time we've had and I'll let you go. Because loving someone means wanting what's best for them, even if that's not you. Simone felt tears sliding down her cheeks. Why couldn't you have said things like that 7 years ago? Why couldn't you have been this emotionally intelligent when we were married? Because I hadn't learned it yet. Because I was too proud and too scared to be vulnerable. Because I thought love was something that just happened, not something you actively chose and worked at every day. He reached across the table, taking her hand. But I know it now. And if you give me the chance, I'll show you every single day. They finished their meal in contemplative silence, both lost in their own thoughts. As they drove back to Simone's apartment, Nathan turned on some music, letting it fill the space between them. It was an old song they used to love back when they were first dating. Simone recognized it immediately and looked at him. You remembered. I remember everything, Nathan said softly. Every song. every inside joke, every moment that mattered. I've held on to all of it because you were the best thing that ever happened to me. And I was too stupid to realize it until I'd already lost you. When they pulled up to Simone's building, neither wanted to say goodbye. They sat in the car as the sun set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Thank you for today, Simone said. For showing me your life. For being honest about your feelings. For not pressuring me. Thank you for coming, Nathan replied. For giving me this chance. For being open to the possibility that we could be something again. Simone unbuckled her seatbelt but didn't immediately get out of the car. Can I tell you something? I'm scared too. Scared of getting hurt. But also scared of letting fear keep me from something that could be beautiful. I don't have it all figured out. I don't know if we can make this work. But I want to try. Really try. Not just going through the motions but genuinely investing in seeing if we have a future. Nathan's face lit up with hope. That's all I'm asking for. A real shot. An honest try. But you have to promise me something, Simone continued. If things get hard, if work gets stressful or life gets complicated, you can't shut down. You can't pull away. You have to stay present and communicate. Because that's where we failed before. The moment things got difficult, you checked out emotionally. I can't survive that again. I promise, Nathan said with absolute certainty. When things get hard, I'll lean in, not pull away. I'll tell you what I'm feeling. I'll ask for help when I need it. I won't make the same mistakes twice. Simone leaned across the console and kissed his cheek, a brief, tender gesture that made Nathan's heart soar. Good night, Nathan. Good night, Simone. She got out of the car and walked to her building, turning once to wave. Nathan waited until she was safely inside before driving away, his heart fuller than it had been in years. He was falling in love with his ex-wife. And maybe, just maybe, she was falling too. Spring turned to early summer, and Simone and Nathan's relationship continued to deepen. They had settled into a comfortable pattern of seeing each other several times a week, slowly building trust and intimacy. Simone found herself thinking about him constantly, looking forward to their time together with an anticipation that both thrilled and terrified her. One evening, as they sat in Nathan's penthouse watching the city lights twinkle below, Nathan turned to her with a serious expression. There's something I need to tell you. Something I should have said a long time ago. Simone felt her stomach tighten. Okay. Nathan took her hand, holding it gently between his. During our marriage, you asked me once if I was happy. Do you remember? Simone nodded. She remembered that conversation. It had been about 6 months before she asked for the divorce. She'd been feeling so disconnected from him and had finally worked up the courage to ask directly. You said you were. You said everything was fine. I lied, Nathan said quietly. I wasn't fine. I was miserable. But I couldn't admit it because that would mean admitting I had made mistakes. That my choices were hurting us. So I lied to you and to myself. And that lie is one of my biggest regrets. Why are you telling me this now? Simone asked. Because I promised honesty. And because I need you to know that every unhappy moment in our marriage wasn't your fault. It wasn't because you weren't enough or didn't do enough. It was because I was broken and didn't know how to fix myself. And instead of asking for help, I just pushed you away. Simone felt tears gathering. I spent so long thinking I must have done something wrong. That if I had just been prettier or more interesting or more supportive, you would have wanted to spend time with me. No, Nathan said firmly. None of that is true. You were perfect. You were perfect. The problem was never you. It was always me. My inability to be vulnerable. My fear of failure. My use of work as an escape from having to deal with real emotions. You deserved so much better than what I gave you. I wasn't perfect, Simone corrected. I had my own issues. I shut down instead of fighting for us. I kept my hurt inside until it turned to resentment. I gave up instead of insisting we get help. We both made mistakes, Nathan agreed. But mine were bigger. I was the one who broke our wedding vows. I promised to love and cherish you and I didn't. Not in the ways that mattered. I'm so sorry, Simone. For all of it. They sat in silence, the weight of his confession settling between them. Outside, the city hummed with life, people living their stories, facing their own regrets and second chances. Can I tell you something I've never told anyone? Simone said after a moment. After our divorce, I went through a really dark period. About 6 months in, when the initial numbness wore off and the reality set in. I was so depressed I could barely get out of bed. Vanessa basically moved in with me for a month to make sure I was eating and taking care of myself. I didn't know, Nathan said, his heart breaking. How could you? We weren't talking. We'd both moved on with our separate lives. But Nathan, I was so lost. I questioned everything. My worth, my judgment, my ability to ever trust again. The divorce didn't just end our marriage. It shattered my sense of self. I'm so sorry, Nathan said, his voice rough with emotion. If I had known. You would have what? We were divorced. You were off building your empire. I was picking up the pieces of my life. There was nothing you could have done. I could have checked on you, Nathan said. I could have made sure you were okay. I could have been a decent human being instead of just disappearing from your life completely. We both needed space, Simone said. And honestly, if you had reached out then, I would have been too angry to respond. I needed time to heal. To rebuild myself. To figure out who I was without you. And did you? Figure out who you are. Simone smiled slightly. I'm still figuring it out. But I know more now than I did then. I know I'm strong. I know I can survive losing someone I love and come out the other side. I know I deserve to be chosen, not just tolerated or fitted into someone's schedule when convenient. You do deserve that, Nathan agreed. And I want to be the person who chooses you. Every single day. In big ways and small ways. I want you to never doubt that you're my priority. Words are easy, Simone said not unkindly. It's actions that matter. And you've been showing up, Nathan. You really have. But we haven't been tested yet. We're still in the easy phase where everything is new and exciting. The real test will be when things get hard. I know, Nathan said. And I'm ready for that test. I want you to see that I'm serious. That this isn't just some romantic gesture that will fade when real life kicks in. Simone shifted on the couch, tucking her legs under her. Tell me about your therapy. You mentioned you've been going for 2 years. What have you learned? Nathan considered the question. A lot. But the biggest thing is understanding my attachment style. I have what they call avoidant attachment. It means when things get emotionally intense or I feel vulnerable, my instinct is to pull away. To create distance. That's what I did during our marriage. Every time you needed emotional intimacy, I ran to work. And has therapy helped with that? It's helped me recognize the pattern. I can't say I've completely overcome it, but now I can see when it's happening. I can catch myself before I shut down completely. And I have tools to work through it instead of just avoiding. What kind of tools? Simone was genuinely curious. Breathing exercises for one. Sounds simple, but when I feel that urge to flee emotionally, I stop and breathe. It gives me space to think instead of just reacting. I also journal. Writing down my feelings helps me process them. And I have a support group. Other people working through similar issues. It helps to know I'm not alone in struggling with this stuff. I'm proud of you, Simone said. For doing that work. For being willing to look at your own patterns and change them. That takes real courage. I had good motivation, Nathan said. Losing you was the wake-up call I needed. I just wish I hadn't needed such a dramatic wake-up call. They ordered dinner and ate on Nathan's balcony, the warm evening air perfect for sitting outside. As they ate, Nathan told her more about his journey of self-discovery. How therapy had helped him understand that his drive for success was really about trying to prove he was worthy of love. How his mother's death had triggered a deep fear of vulnerability because grief hurt too much. When Mom died, I promised myself I'd never let anyone close enough to hurt me like that again, Nathan explained. And then I met you and you slipped past all my defenses without even trying. You made me feel things I'd sworn off feeling. So I protected myself the only way I knew how. By keeping you at arm's length emotionally while keeping you close physically. I thought I could have it both ways. But you can't, Simone said softly. You can't have real intimacy without vulnerability. Without risk. I know that now. And I'm willing to take that risk with you. I'm willing to be completely open even if it means I might get hurt. Simone set down her fork, looking at him seriously. Nathan, I need to tell you something too. Something I'm not proud of. Okay. After our divorce, I dated someone. Just for a few months, about a year after we split. His name was Christopher. He was nice, stable, everything that seemed safe. And I tried to love him. I really did. But I couldn't. Because he wasn't you. Nathan felt a pang of jealousy but pushed it aside. You don't have to tell me this. I do. Because I need you to understand something. I broke up with Christopher because I realized I was using him to try to get over you. And that wasn't fair to him. He deserved someone who loved him for himself, not someone who was trying to replace a ghost. And I realized something important. I don't want safe. I don't want stable if it means settling for less than what my heart truly wants. What does your heart want? Nathan asked quietly. Simone met his eyes. I think it wants you. I think it's always wanted you. Even when I was furious with you. Even when I thought I hated you. Even when I convinced myself I was over you. My heart never really let go. Nathan's breath caught. Simone. But my head is more cautious, she continued. My head remembers the pain. The loneliness. The nights I cried myself to sleep. My head wants to protect me from going through that again. So what do we do? Nathan asked. How do we get your head and your heart to agree? Time, Simone said. And proof. Not proof that you love me. I believe you do. But proof that you can handle the hard times. That you won't run when things get difficult. That you're really as changed as you seem. Then I'll prove it, Nathan said with determination. However long it takes. Whatever it takes. I'll show you that I'm worth the risk. They finished dinner and moved back inside, settling on the couch to watch a movie. But neither was really paying attention to the screen. They were too aware of each other, of the shift that had happened in their conversation. Something had changed tonight. They had both confessed deeper truths, admitted to feelings they'd been holding back. Halfway through the movie, Simone rested her head on Nathan's shoulder. He wrapped his arm around her, pulling her close. It felt natural, comfortable, right? Like coming home after a long journey. Can I ask you something? Nathan said during a quiet scene. Always. If we do this, if we really give us another try, what would you need from me? Specifically. Not vague promises, but concrete things that would make you feel secure and loved. Simone thought carefully before answering. I need regular date nights. Not just when it's convenient, but scheduled, protected time that's just for us. I need you to remember important dates. Birthdays, anniversaries, the little things that show you're paying attention. I need you to share your feelings with me even when it's uncomfortable. And I need you to let me support you when you're struggling instead of shutting me out. I can do all of that, Nathan said. What else? I need to meet your friends. Your real friends, not just business associates. I need to be integrated into your life, not kept separate from it. And I need you to be part of mine. To know Vanessa and my other friends. To come to my work events sometimes. To be a true partner in every sense. Done. Anything else? I need you to keep going to therapy. Even when you think you don't need it anymore. Even when things are good. Because maintaining mental health is as important as achieving it. I agree completely. I have no intention of stopping therapy. It's become too valuable to me. Simone pulled back slightly to look at him. You know what's crazy? We're having a more mature, honest conversation right now than we had in our entire marriage. We're talking about needs and expectations like adults. During our marriage, we just assumed the other person should know what we needed. We never actually communicated. That was one of our biggest problems, Nathan agreed. We loved each other, but we didn't know how to be in a relationship. We were both so young and inexperienced. We thought love was enough. It's not, is it? Love is necessary, but it's not sufficient. You also need communication, trust, respect, shared values, compatible goals. Do you think we have those things now? Nathan asked. I think we're building them. We have the communication, at least we're working on it. We have shared values. We both care about helping people, about making a difference. We both want meaningful lives, not just successful ones. As for trust, that's still being built. But it's growing. They finished the movie in comfortable silence, both lost in thought about the future. When it ended, Simone reluctantly said she should head home. It was late and she had a full day of clients tomorrow. At her car, Nathan pulled her into a hug. Thank you for tonight. For being honest with me. For telling me about Christopher and about what you need. It helps me understand how to love you better. Thank you for listening, Simone said. And for sharing about your therapy. It means a lot that you're willing to be that vulnerable with me. As she started to pull away, Nathan gently cupped her face. Can I kiss you? Not as an obligation or because I think I should. But because I really want to. And I want to make sure you want it too. Simone's heart raced. They hadn't kissed yet, not really. Just that brief kiss on the cheek weeks ago. This would be different. This would mean something. Yes, she whispered. I want that too. Nathan leaned in slowly, giving her time to change her mind if she wanted. But she didn't. Their lips met softly, tentatively, both of them nervous despite their history. It was their first kiss as new people, not as the married couple they used to be. The kiss deepened naturally, neither rushing but both fully present. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathless. Wow, Simone said softly. Yeah, Nathan agreed. Wow. I should really go, Simone said, though she made no move to leave. You should, Nathan agreed, also not moving. They kissed once more, briefer this time, before Simone finally got in her car. As she drove home, her lips still tingling, her heart full of possibility, she let herself hope. Really hope. That maybe this time they could get it right. 3 weeks after that kiss, Simone and Nathan had fallen into something that felt like a real relationship. They saw each other almost every day, either meeting for meals or spending evenings together. They had become comfortable with physical affection, holding hands, cuddling on the couch, stealing kisses when the moment felt right. Simone had met Cameron, Nathan's business partner, who approved wholeheartedly of their reunion. "I've never seen him this happy," Cameron told Simone over lunch one day. "You're good for him. You make him remember there's more to life than board meetings and profit margins." Nathan had also spent time with Vanessa, who remained cautiously optimistic. "He seems different," she admitted to Simone. "More present. More genuine. But I'm still watching him. First sign he's slipping back into old patterns, I'm staging an intervention." On a Tuesday evening, Simone and Nathan were having dinner at her apartment. She had cooked her famous chicken curry, and Nathan had praised it so enthusiastically that she was already planning to make it again next week. They were laughing about a funny incident at the foundation when Nathan's phone rang. He glanced at the screen and frowned. "It's Cameron. I'm sorry, I should take this. He never calls this late unless it's important." "Go ahead," Simone said, starting to clear the dishes. Nathan answered, stepping into the living room. Simone could hear his side of the conversation from the kitchen. "What? When did this happen? How bad is it?" Pause. "Okay. Yes, I understand. No, you're right to call me." Another pause. "Let me think. I'll call you back in 10 minutes. He came back to the kitchen, his expression troubled. Simone felt a familiar knot form in her stomach. This was the moment Vanessa had warned her about. The moment when work would intrude and she'd see if Nathan had really changed. "What's wrong?" she asked, keeping her voice neutral. "There's a situation with the company. One of our major clients is threatening to pull their contract. It's worth millions, but more importantly, if they leave, it could start a domino effect. Other clients might get nervous and leave too." "That sounds serious," Simone said. "It is. Cameron needs me to fly to San Francisco tomorrow. Meet with the client. Try to salvage the relationship." Nathan ran a hand through his hair, looking torn. "But I don't want to go. I don't want to leave you. We had plans this week." Simone took a deep breath, remembering her promise to herself to be honest. "Nathan, I need you to do something for me right now. I need you to tell me what you're feeling. All of it." Nathan looked at her, seeing the concern in her eyes. "I'm feeling conflicted. Part of me knows I should go to San Francisco. It's the responsible thing to do. The company employs over 300 people. This contract matters. But another part of me is terrified that if I go, you'll think I'm choosing work over you again. That I'm falling back into old patterns." "Thank you for being honest," Simone said. "Now I'm going to be honest with you. If you tell Cameron to handle it and something goes wrong because you weren't there, you'll resent me. You'll blame me for the failure even if you don't say it out loud. And that resentment will poison what we're building." "I wouldn't blame you," Nathan protested. "You might not mean to, but you would." "Nathan, I'm not asking you to choose between me and your company. I'm not that person anymore. But I am asking you to be honest about what you need to do and why." Nathan sat down at the kitchen table, his shoulders slumping. "I need to go. Not because I want to, but because it's the right thing to do. Those 300 employees, they have families. They have mortgages and kids in college and dreams. I can't risk their livelihoods because I'm trying to prove something to you." "Then go," Simone said simply. Nathan looked up at her, surprised. "Just like that? You're okay with it?" "I'm not thrilled about it. But yes, I'm okay with it. Because this is different from before. Before, you would have just announced you were going and expected me to deal with it. You wouldn't have acknowledged the conflict or asked how I felt. You would have made the decision unilaterally and left me to figure it out. So this is a test?" Nathan asked carefully. "Life is a test," Simone said, sitting down across from him. "Relationships are full of moments like this where competing priorities collide. The question isn't whether you'll ever have to travel for work or deal with crises. The question is how we handle it together." Nathan reached across the table, taking her hand. "How do we handle it? Tell me what you need." "I need you to communicate with me while you're gone. Not just quick texts, but real communication. Call me at night. Tell me how the meetings went. Let me support you through the stress. Don't shut me out." "I can do that," Nathan promised. "And I need you to not make this a pattern. This is a crisis, I understand that. But if next month there's another crisis and the month after that another one, then we have a problem. Because then it's not about handling legitimate emergencies. It's about using work to avoid intimacy. You're right, Nathan said. And I promise you this is an exception, not the rule. I've worked hard to set up systems so I don't have to be involved in every little thing. But this situation requires me personally. The client has a relationship with me specifically. Then go to San Francisco, Simone said. Fix the problem. Save the jobs. And then come home to me. Nathan stood up and pulled her into his arms. You're incredible. You know that? The way you're handling this, the maturity and understanding you're showing. I don't deserve you. Probably not, Simone said with a small smile. But you're working on becoming someone who does. They spent the rest of the evening talking through the details. Nathan would fly out first thing in the morning, be in San Francisco for 2 days, maybe 3 if the negotiations were difficult. He would call her every evening no matter how tired or stressed he was. He would text her throughout the day when he had breaks. What if I make you a promise? Nathan said as they were saying goodnight. What if I promise that when I get back we do something special? Just the two of us. Something that shows you're my priority. You don't have to bribe me, Nathan. I'm not keeping score. I know, but I want to. I want to show you that even when work demands my attention, you're still the most important person in my life. So let me plan something. Something meaningful. Okay, Simone agreed. I trust you. Those 3 words, I trust you, meant everything to Nathan. He kissed her goodnight, holding her close, memorizing the feeling of her in his arms to carry with him to California. The next morning, Nathan texted Simone from the airport. Boarding soon. Already missing you. Thank you for understanding about this trip. You're amazing. Simone responded, safe flight. You've got this. Call me tonight. She went about her day, seeing clients, attending meetings, trying not to worry. This was the test Vanessa had warned her about. Would Nathan really call? Would he stay connected? Or would he get caught up in the work and forget about her the way he always used to? That evening her phone rang at 8:30. Nathan's name on the screen made her smile. Hi, she answered. Hi. Nathan sounded exhausted. Long day. The meeting was brutal. The client is angry about some technical issues with our software. But we made progress. I think we can save this. Tell me about it, Simone said, settling into her couch. What happened? Nathan spent 20 minutes walking her through the situation, not glossing over the difficulties but also not using it as an excuse to keep their conversation shallow. He shared his frustrations, his worries, his hopes for tomorrow's meeting. I'm boring you, he said finally. I'm just rambling about work. You're not boring me, Simone assured him. I like hearing about your day. I like feeling included in your life, even the stressful parts. I like including you, Nathan said. It helps, actually, talking to you. It puts things in perspective. Reminds me that even if this deal falls through, life goes on. I still have things that matter more than any contract. That's growth, Simone said softly. The old you would have been spiraling right now. Seeing this as a referendum on your worth as a person. The old me was an idiot, Nathan said. The current me knows that business is business. Some deals work out, some don't. What matters is how you handle it. They talked for another hour, moving from work stress to lighter topics. Nathan told her about the view from his hotel room. Simone told him about a particularly moving counseling session she'd had. They laughed. They flirted a little. They reminded each other that they were building something real and good. I should let you get some rest, Simone finally said. You have another big day tomorrow. I do. But Simone, thank you. For being understanding. For not making me choose. For handling this the way you did. It means everything to me. Thank you for keeping your promise to communicate. For calling even though you're exhausted. For including me. Always, Nathan promised. I'll talk to you tomorrow? I'll be waiting. The next day followed a similar pattern. Nathan texted updates throughout the day. The meetings were going better. They were close to an agreement. By evening he called with good news. They had saved the contract. The client was satisfied. The crisis was averted. I'll be home tomorrow afternoon, Nathan said, relief evident in his voice. And I have something special planned for Friday night. If you're free? I'm free, Simone said, smiling. What are we doing? It's a surprise. Just trust me. There was that word again. Trust. And the remarkable thing was, Simone realized she did trust him. He had faced the first real test of their new relationship and he had passed. He had stayed connected. He had communicated. He had kept his promises. The old patterns hadn't emerged. He really had changed. When Nathan returned to the city on Wednesday afternoon, his first stop was Simone's apartment. He knocked on her door at 4:30, holding flowers and wearing the biggest smile. Simone opened the door and threw her arms around him. "You're back." "I'm back," he confirmed, holding her tight. "And I missed you like crazy." "I missed you too. Come in. Tell me everything." They spent the evening catching up, Nathan filling in details he hadn't shared over the phone. But more than the details, what mattered was that he was present. Focused on her. Not distracted or distant. He had gone to San Francisco, handled business, and come back without losing himself in the process. "Thank you," Simone said as they sat together on her couch later. "For what?" "For proving that it's possible. For showing me that you can handle work stress without shutting me out. For being the partner I always needed you to be." Nathan kissed her forehead. "I told you I'd changed. I'm just glad I got the chance to prove it." "So what's this surprise you have planned for Friday?" Simone asked. "You'll see," Nathan said mysteriously. "Just be ready at 6. Wear something comfortable. And Simone, this is going to be special. I promise." Friday arrived with perfect weather, sunny but not too hot. Simone spent the day in a state of excited anticipation. Nathan had been mysterious about his plans, only telling her to dress comfortably and be ready for an adventure. At 6 o'clock sharp, Nathan knocked on her door. He wore jeans and a blue button-down shirt, looking relaxed and happy. In his hand was a small gift bag. "Before we go anywhere," he said, handing her the bag, "open this." Inside was a small box. Simone opened it carefully and found a delicate silver bracelet. It was simple but beautiful, with a small charm in the shape of a compass. "It's gorgeous," Simone said, holding it up to the light. "Read the inscription on the compass," Nathan urged. Simone looked closer and saw tiny words engraved on the back. "Always finding my way home to you." Tears filled her eyes. "Nathan, I wanted you to have something that symbolizes where we are now. We've both been lost. We've both been wandering. But we found our way back to each other. And no matter where life takes us, no matter what challenges we face, I will always find my way home to you." Simone let him fasten the bracelet on her wrist, then kissed him softly. "I love it. Thank you. Ready for the rest of the surprise?" "I'm ready." Nathan drove them out of the city, heading into the countryside. As they left the urban landscape behind, Simone grew more curious. "Where are we going?" "Patience," Nathan said with a smile. "We're almost there." After about 40 minutes, they pulled up to a beautiful bed and breakfast nestled in rolling hills. It was a restored farmhouse painted cheerful yellow, surrounded by gardens and trees. A wraparound porch with rocking chairs invited guests to sit and stay a while. "We're staying here?" Simone asked, delighted. "For the whole weekend," Nathan confirmed. "I thought we could use some time away. Just us. No work, no distractions. Just talking and being together and figuring out our future." They checked in and were shown to a lovely room with a 4-poster bed and windows overlooking the gardens. It was romantic and cozy, the perfect place for important conversations. "I have the whole weekend planned," Nathan said once they were alone. "But nothing is set in stone. If you want to change anything, we can. This is about what you want, what makes you happy." "Tell me what you're thinking," Simone said, sitting on the edge of the bed. "Tonight I thought we could have dinner here. There's a restaurant on the property that's supposed to be incredible. Tomorrow I booked us a couple's massage at the spa down the road. Then in the afternoon there's a cooking class if you're interested. Tomorrow night I have something special planned, but that's a surprise. Sunday we can just relax before heading back to the city." "That sounds perfect," Simone said. "But Nathan, you didn't have to do all this. It must have been expensive." "It's worth it," Nathan said simply. "You're worth it. And I wanted to create some good memories. Happy memories that are just ours, that have nothing to do with our past or our mistakes. Just us starting fresh." They went down to dinner holding hands, both feeling like teenagers on a first date despite their complicated history. The restaurant was everything Nathan had promised, intimate and delicious. They ordered wine and fancy entrees and laughed at each other's stories. "Can I ask you something?" Nathan said over dessert. "And I want you to be completely honest. Always. Are you happy? Like truly happy? With me, with us, with how things are going?" Simone considered the question carefully. "I am. Surprisingly, genuinely happy. When you came back into my life I was so scared. Scared of getting hurt, scared of making the same mistakes. But you've shown me that people really can change. That second chances can work if both people are committed." "So where do we go from here?" Nathan asked. "Are we boyfriend and girlfriend? Are we dating exclusively? Are we taking it slow? I want to respect whatever pace you need, but I also want some clarity about what we are to each other. Simone smiled. I think we're more than just dating. We have too much history for that. But I'm not ready to rush into living together or getting remarried or anything like that. Can we just be together? Committed, exclusive, building toward a future but not forcing it. That sounds perfect to me, Nathan said. Committed and together, but giving ourselves time to really make sure we're ready for next steps. After dinner, they walked the grounds of the bed and breakfast, enjoying the cool evening air. Fireflies blinked in the grass. The stars came out, bright and clear away from city lights. It felt magical, like they had stepped into a different world where their past couldn't touch them. I need to tell you something, Simone said as they sat on a bench overlooking a small pond. I've been holding back, protecting myself. But I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want fear to keep me from saying what I feel. What do you feel? Nathan asked gently. I love you, Simone said, the words coming out easier than she expected. I never stopped loving you, not really. And I'm done pretending otherwise. I love you, Nathan. The man you are now. Not just who you used to be, but who you've become. And I want to build a life with you. A real life, a better life than what we had before. Nathan felt emotion overwhelm him. He had hoped for this, dreamed of it, but hearing her say the words was more than he could have imagined. I love you too. So much. And I want that same thing. A real partnership where we both show up. Where we both do the work. Where we choose each other every day. They kissed under the stars, sealing their commitment with that simple, profound gesture. When they pulled apart, both were smiling through tears. I can't believe we get to do this, Simone said. I can't believe we get a second chance to get it right. We're going to make the most of it, Nathan promised. No more taking each other for granted. No more choosing work over love. No more shutting down when things get hard. They spent the rest of the evening talking about the future. Not just vague dreams but concrete plans. Where they wanted to live. How they would handle holidays and family. What their careers would look like 5 years from now. Whether they wanted children someday. All the conversations they should have had before getting married the first time, they were having now with wisdom and maturity. The next day unfolded exactly as Nathan had promised. The couple's massage was incredibly relaxing. The cooking class was fun and ended with them eating the pasta they'd made together. They spent the afternoon exploring nearby hiking trails, holding hands and enjoying each other's company. That evening, Nathan told Simone to dress nicely. The surprise is happening tonight. Simone put on a beautiful red dress, the one she had originally considered for their blind date but thought was too bold. Now she felt bold. Felt ready for whatever came next. Nathan took her to a private room in the bed and breakfast. Inside, the space had been transformed. Candles everywhere. Rose petals on the floor. Soft music playing. And in the center of it all, a small table set for two. Nathan, this is beautiful, Simone breathed. Wait, he said, leading her to the table. On it was a framed photo. Their wedding photo. But it had been altered, restored and brightened so they both looked young and happy and full of hope. I had this restored, Nathan explained, because I wanted to honor what we had. Even though our first marriage didn't work out, it brought us to where we are now. It taught us what we needed to learn. And someday when we're ready, I'd like to try again. Not as the people we were, but as the people we've become. Simone's breath caught. Are you asking me to marry you? Not yet, Nathan said gently. I know you're not ready for that. But I'm telling you that's where I see this going. That's what I want. Someday. When you're ready. I want to stand in front of our friends and family and promise to love you for the rest of my life. And this time I'll keep that promise. Simone looked at the photo, at their young, hopeful faces, and felt tears streaming down her cheeks. I want that too. Not right now, but someday. When we've had more time to build trust and prove to ourselves that this is real and lasting. That's all I'm asking for, Nathan said. The possibility of forever. They had dinner in that romantic setting, talking late into the night about everything and nothing. They laughed at old memories. They were honest about fears. They dreamed together about the future. And through it all, they held hands, anchoring each other in the present while looking toward tomorrow. Sunday morning, they packed up and prepared to return to the city. As they drove back, Simone felt different. Lighter. Happier than she had been in years. She had taken a risk on love, on second chances, on believing people could change. And that risk was paying off. What are you thinking about? Nathan asked, glancing at her. I'm thinking about how grateful I am, Simone said. For Vanessa setting up that blind date. For you using a fake name. For fate or luck or whatever brought us back together. I'm grateful we got this chance to do it right. Me too, Nathan said. And Simone? Thank you. For being brave enough to try. For not letting our past define our future. For teaching me what love really means. We taught each other, Simone corrected. That's what partnerships do. They help both people grow. When they arrived back at Simone's apartment, Nathan walked her to her door like a gentleman. Can I see you tomorrow? You can see me every day if you want, Simone said with a smile. I want, Nathan confirmed. He kissed her softly. Get some rest. I'll call you later. As Simone entered her apartment, she immediately called Vanessa. Tell me everything, Vanessa demanded. V, I'm in love. Really truly in love. And I think we're going to make it this time. You sound happy, Vanessa observed. Like genuinely, deeply happy. I am. He's different. We're different. We've both grown and changed and learned. And I think we have a real shot at forever. Then I'm happy for you, Vanessa said warmly. You deserve this, Simone. You deserve a love that shows up. That chooses you. That does the work. After hanging up, Simone looked at the bracelet on her wrist. The compass charm caught the light, reminding her of Nathan's words. Always finding my way home to you. She had been lost for so long. Lost in hurt and anger and disappointment. But she had found her way back. Not to who she used to be, but to something better. To a version of herself that was stronger, wiser, more capable of real love. Her phone buzzed with a text from Nathan. Missing you already. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Thank you for the best weekend of my life. Simone texted back a heart emoji, then added, thank you for showing me that second chances are real. Love you. Love you more, came his response. Simone smiled, looking around her small apartment. Soon, she thought, they would need to have conversations about living arrangements. About merging their lives more fully. But for now this was enough. Knowing they were building towards something real. Knowing that love, when given a second chance and nurtured with intention, could bloom even more beautifully than the first time. Outside her window, the sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. A new day was ending, but tomorrow would bring fresh possibilities. Fresh chances to love well. Fresh opportunities to choose each other again and again. And that, Simone thought, was what real love was all about. Not the grand gestures or the perfect moments, but the daily choice to show up, to be present, to do the work, to find your way home to each other again and again and again. 6 months later. The garden behind Nathan's parents' old house was full of people. Not a huge crowd, just close friends and family. Vanessa stood next to Simone, adjusting the simple cream dress Simone had chosen for this day. It wasn't a traditional wedding dress. They weren't having a traditional wedding. This was something better. A renewal. A celebration of second chances. You ready? Vanessa asked, squeezing Simone's hand. I'm ready, Simone said, meaning it with her whole heart. Cameron stood next to Nathan under an arch covered in flowers from the community garden at the foundation. The kids had helped plant and tend them specifically for this day. Marcus was sitting in the front row, grinning and giving Nathan a thumbs up. Simone walked down the aisle, no dramatic music or formal processional. Just her, walking toward the man she loved, surrounded by people who had supported them through the hard times and were now celebrating the joy. Nathan's eyes filled with tears as she approached. This time he knew what he was promising. This time he understood the weight and beauty of forever. We're gathered here, the officiant began, to celebrate something rare and beautiful. A love that survived. A love that grew through pain and emerged stronger. Simone and Nathan aren't asking us to witness the start of their love story. We're here to witness its next chapter. Nathan and Simone had written their own vows. Nathan went first, his voice strong despite the emotion. Simone, 7 years ago I promised to love you forever. I meant it then, but I didn't understand what I was promising. I thought love was a feeling. I thought it would just carry us through anything. I was wrong. Love is a choice. A daily decision to show up, to be present, to do the work. Today I promise you that I understand. I promise to choose you every day. To put you first. To communicate even when it's hard. To stay when things get difficult instead of running away. I promise to be the partner you deserve. Not perfect but committed. Not without flaws but always growing. I promise to find my way home to you, every single day for the rest of my life. Simone wiped away tears, then took a steadying breath to say her own vows. Nathan, when our marriage ended, I thought I had lost everything. But I had really just lost a version of us that wasn't meant to survive. The universe gave us both time to grow, to learn, to become people capable of real love. Today I'm not marrying the man who I divorced. I'm marrying the man who learned from his mistakes. Who did the hard work of changing. who proved through actions, not just words, that he understands what partnership means. I promise to be patient when you struggle, to be honest about my needs, to celebrate your victories and support you through failures. I promise to never give up on us again, to fight for what we have, to choose love even when it's hard. I promise to come home to you in every sense of that word, every day for the rest of our lives. They exchanged rings. Not the original bands from their first wedding, but new ones they had chosen together. Simple gold bands engraved with dates. Their first wedding date and this one. A reminder that their love story had two beginnings. By the power vested in me, the officiant said with a smile, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Again. Nathan, kiss your bride. And he did. A kiss that held all the promise of their future. All the hard-won wisdom of their past. All the hope and joy and commitment of their present. The small crowd cheered. Marcus whistled loudly. Vanessa cried happy tears. Cameron clapped Nathan on the back. And Simone and Nathan, finally, truly, completely together, walked back down the aisle as partners. Not perfect but real. Not without scars but healed enough to try again. At the reception held in the Foundation's gym that had been decorated beautifully, Simone and Nathan made the rounds, thanking their guests. When they finally had a quiet moment together, Nathan pulled her close. Mrs. Pierce, he said, testing out the name she had agreed to take again. How does it feel? Right? Simone said simply. For the first time it feels completely right. They danced together, not caring that people were watching. Not caring about anything except this moment. This choice. This love that had survived everything and come out stronger. Thank you, Nathan whispered in her ear. For what? For showing up to that blind date. For not running when you saw it was me. For giving me a chance I didn't deserve. For teaching me what love really means. For choosing me again. Thank you for becoming someone worth choosing, Simone said. For doing the work. For changing. For proving that second chances are real. Always finding my way home to you, Nathan said, touching the compass charm on her bracelet that she still wore every day. And I'm always here waiting, Simone replied. Ready to welcome you home. They kissed again, sealing not just their marriage vows but their deeper promise. To grow together. To face whatever came. To choose love, every single day. Around them people celebrated. Music played. Food was served. Toasts were made. But in their own little bubble, Simone and Nathan were exactly where they needed to be. Home in each other's arms. Right where they had always belonged. And this time they were staying.